just call me Skull. Does anyone want to play PUBG with me? Okay, everyone. Spam F. When we get into the plane, everyone spam F. Does anyone have a vertical foregrip?
Hello and welcome to day 2 of the NSE finals. I'm Charlie Montreal, joined by Omni Toaster. Let's do some Overwatch.
Yeah.
I'm ready. It's Staffordshire
Overwatch Grand Final
versus
time.
Durham. Boy, it's going to be good. So, looking at the bracket for NSE Winter, Staffordshire, if I remember correctly, won all their games?
Yeah, Staffordshire have been really dominant all year. Actually, they have been pretty much undefeated in NSE and in Lunar. They defeated Underwatch most recently in Newell, one of the strongest teams for the last couple of years. So they're coming into this in a really strong position, and they're probably going to be quite confident. A big goats playing team. A lot of the maps today are going to favour goats.
It's going to have a lot of goats today. If you're not here for that meta, I'm so sorry.
There's going to be lots of goats. They have a pretty aggressive goats team as well. Their main tank Callum does like pressing the shift button, maybe a bit too much, but yeah, they're an aggressive goats team. They will run at you as hard and fast as possible. None less nuance of the goats from staffs, but
And
they are good at it.
Looking at the bracket for Winter, am I right in thinking Durham won all their games bar one?
Yeah, so Durham actually beat all of their games except their game against staffs. They beat IC9, they beat Pyrmi, and they beat Abate, who are all pretty strong teams. But yeah, they did have a game against staffs which they lost. So if that's any indication, staffs should be feeling pretty confident coming into this one.
And before we get straight into the game, the team names, we've got the Durham Defenders versus Yeet.
We promised ourselves we were going to say
Yeet
at least
on
once.
stream, and there we are here.
Yeah.
So just loading up the lobby now. Waiting. Oh boy.
Game should be starting in time. First map is Lijiang. It was Staffordshire's pick. It is obviously out of Nepal and Lijiang, which were their options for control. It is the most staffs and goats map.
And Staffordshire on a fence. Here we go.
They're both on the fence. It is King of the Hill.
I knew that.
Yeah, that's how
Hell
the game
yeah.
works. So we have Staffordshire on the red team, and we have Kiel, not Kiel, I'm so used to casting
not
Kiel. We have
Kiel.
Durham on the blue team. So picks coming out, maybe not what they're going to be second, but the Mopin electing to take the Doomfist into this, so not going for the goat straight up, although I feel a lot of these heroes probably aren't going to be what they stick on. Huge Horse is a big Brigade player. Mopin usually on the projectile DPS. But electing to take the Doomfist this time. The goats looking to be coming out. They have got free tank and free support on the side of staffs. An expected team comp from them. A unexpected Wrecking Ball. We may be seeing that change pretty quickly from
I really hope
from
not.
Durham. I hope
really
not as well.
hope not.
I do really like that hero, but yeah, he's going to change it up to the Reinhardt. So they're also going to be going for the triple support, but taking a Doomfist instead of that third tank. So not a full goats coming out from Durham. Electing to go right side onto the point. Going to try and just face staffs straight off with the goats. It might be hard to do. Both Reinhardts coming a bit aggressively onto each other, getting shielded up, and Callum's actually going to get charged and go down straight away. So the advantage is in the way of Durham right now, and they're going to mop up the mech from the Eevee on the D.Va as well. And they're just going to be able to push them back, and this is going to be the first fight going in the way of Durham, and they're going to be able to flip this point, start getting that percentage racking on up in their favor. Now they're going to have to be looking to hold them, not let this goats exploit them by getting onto point, getting the space and picking up his T-cards. A big anti-nade on to the Rhine of Callum. He's going to be going down pretty low. He's going to charge away, not just quick enough to get to the health pack, so he's going to drop, and staffs are going to have to back up again. Mopin getting a pick early in that fight with the rocket punch onto the Zarya.
Really surprised at the amount of offense that Durham is showing here, considering their history with staffs previously.
Yeah, Durham just taking the fight straight to staffs here and coming up pretty well, getting efficient picks with this Doomfist and just outlasting them. The Zarya on 100 charge, 90% to grab. Looking at Jealous, also at his grab now, so both grabs are probably going to be able to come out in this fight, but Mopin's going to take down Pulse pretty quickly, and a huge shatter hits onto Free, and that's going to be it for this fight. Massive plays from the Reinhardt of Marksmere, and that nano boost maybe not necessary, and they're going to push him straight to spawn. Eevee going to jump off there, not give them any more ult charge, and that was a lot of ults committed from Durham. They probably didn't need the nano boost. It is nice for keeping people alive. And staffs are going to be coming into this with the shatter and a grab of their own. So this fight, hopefully going to be looking pretty good for them. Callum looking for that, but a charge onto Pulse immediately. And actually Callum goes to use his slam, but dies during the animation. Doesn't stun anybody and loses that ult charge. And that is huge for Durham. Absolutely huge. A big charge coming off straight on the bat. And that's a really, really big fight for them getting that shatter out. Callum is an excellent Reinhardt player and can do great things like that. Now coming from up top on the side of Durham, looking to get that grab. He's going to drop down and get a grab. It's big onto the entire team. The nade comes out and it's a big heal, but the Lucio is going to drop. Now they're kind of pushing onto the point here. Callum dropping pretty low, but and the stun comes out from Brigitte, so he does drop to the Doomfist ult, and even though there's a huge grab, the nade and the healing is just enough to sustain them through it, and staffs can't touch the point. That's a really, really commanding first point here from Durham.
Really good take, but I'm again surprised with how well they handled that. Staffs just seemed to fall apart. They didn't even touch the point.
Just taking the fight to their door, to that choke point every single time, and even when staffs had the ult advantage, Durham were managing to pull out the wins. Looking at heroes. Not going to be any changes coming out from either team just yet. See, Durham feeling pretty good. This map is more favorable towards goats. It's very nice for goats. You can fight in that top white room, up the stairs, and really take the fight to the enemy team. But
An almost mirror match pick as well from both teams.
I think a bit, honestly, a big factor here is Wolfman115 on this Anna is getting some really big nades. Like he got a nade onto Callum a couple of times to help him get picked off in those fights. He got the nade into the grab, which was just huge, and another big anti comes out, but Ryan is around the corner, not going to be able to get healed, and this is not looking too great for Durham now. A huge force dropping really low, going to have to get healed up, and they are going to be backing away, trying not to feed too much ult charge here as they really group, wait for their Reinhardt. Staffs Going to push them back and going to be able to take an initial point. Now, Marksmith coming back, looking like he's going to charge in, while Eevee goes for the Lucio, doesn't manage to get the pick, just gets a little bit of damage on him, but Zephyrus on the Zenyatta is going to take out Mopin. So a lot of damage from Durham is going to be negated in this fight, and a rally coming out from Pulse is going to be enough healing and armor just to mop up the rest of this fight for Staffs. And finally, flip the point in their favor. Probably took him a little longer than they would have liked, but a commanding fight from them, and they're going to be able to take the point control.
Giving Durham exactly what they got in the first round there with the utter point dominance.
Now it's Staff's turn to start trying to hold pretty close. Callum just using his shield to peek around that corner there, have a look at what's going on. He does have his shatter ready. There are grabs ready on both sides. A nano boost comes out onto Mopin, and the grab also hitting, but a huge shatter from Callum hits onto so many, just stalls out any aggression into that. And Eevee getting free with her bomb. Monkfish having none of that. Gonna go off, but J7
He outie.
gonna send him off and claim the environmental kill that definitely wasn't actually his. Jealous now with his own grab ready, looking to use that to take this next fight. Ultimate advantage very much in Staff's favor. Just getting some spam out, 67 charge on this area, looking for the grab. Comes in very aggressively, gets a grab onto Lowe's. The shatter in response is pretty strong, again stopping any aggression into that grab, but Staff's still looking in a pretty good position in this fight. Callum getting a huge shatter, not dropping, he was so low, and that shatter is going to cancel any kind of aggression into this fight from Durham. They're just going to have to back out, but no opportunity for Mopin to escape. Does get a kill with his ult, but is not enough.
The synergy from both teams here is just so good.
Now, ult advantage once again in the favor of Staffordshire here. They do have 2 support ults, and Durham are going to be coming in with absolutely nothing. They might be able to get up a nano boost kind of quickly. Mopin swapping over to the Hanzo, maybe just looking for a quick pick. The rally comes out, lots of armor generation coming onto Staffs. Nade, but the nade comes out actually before the Zenyatta ult, so there's no way to cancel any of that healing. And that is going to be this round definitely going the way of Staffs. They just managed to have ult advantage in every fight.
An objective secured there for Staffs.
Fire at will.
So that's 1-1 now. 2, and each round was very, very commanding win from the team that won it. 100-0, just holding them so close, managing to win every fight even with ults popped against them.
I'd personally say this is the most demanding point of the trio in Lijiang.
Yeah, and we are going to actually see Staffs going off of that goat. Just doesn't do enough on this point, really. Swapping to that pharmacy, Jealous's Farah is incredibly good. Callum going over to the Winston, and Pulse playing his signature Doomfist. One of his 2 main heroes that he plays for this team. Meanwhile, the Doomfist is going to come back out for Mopin, but other than that, no changes on the side of Durham. The Brigitte going to be okay against this, but they have no answers other than the Ana for this Farah. So when they see the pharmacy, they might want to consider trying to change, because they're going to struggle to take out Sky, and immediately Jealous is going to open up with the pick onto Huge Horse and onto Wolfman 115. This man's Farah is terrifying. You cannot just give it free reign.
The AoE here
they're going to want
to
start looking to change it up so they can try and deal with Jealous, because otherwise he's going to walk all over them. And yeah, just a dominant fight at the start of this point, carried by Jealous's Farah, already on 61 ult percentage, Pulse at 74, 76 towards the Mercy ult, while the Mopin almost has his on 91, but it's not going to be that strong against the team of Staffs. They have so many ways of getting out of it.
Pocket Mercy is just disgusting, isn't it?
Jealous, the amount of games we lost to Jealous was just the Farah Mercy was very high. It is so good. And Big Boot comes out, just kind of disrupting the team as they try to come onto point, and it gets boosted, and Rocket Barrage is getting 4. Callum picks off Wolfman in that, and no chance at all for Durham to survive that fight. That was absolutely brutal. Only 2 ults going into it as well, just Jealous. Only one, sorry, just Jealousies. It was actually... There was no nano boost. Before they had a nano boost. That's absolutely brutal. Just a triple kill with the ult, and then finishing off Monkfish at the end, just with rockets. And they're going to swap Mopin onto a Pharah of his own, but without the Mercy, it is going to be hard for him to take good trades against Jealous. And just straight away, Pulse is going to send Monkfish off the edge of the map, with Callum jumping in, disrupting them, and getting more off the map with that Monkey ult. This, once again, is just going to be an absolutely destruction of Durham in this fight. It's just, they are getting completely decimated. They have no answer to anything that Staffs are doing here.
Major ult advantage to Staffs as well. With
Yeah, like Staffs managed to win every fight, and also managed to have ult advantage in every fight, and they just seem to never have to use them. They're using one ult a fight, really. And Jealous up to 70% for his next one, and we saw recently just how destructive that can be and how it can just end the fight. Now, and Pole's going to take out Monkfish for the second fight in a row. With the beat being dropped, there's just so much health on this Staff side that I don't think Durham are going to be able to actually take anyone down. Huge Horse going to go off the edge of the map as he gets demeched. And there's just so many dead. Only Marksmere still alive on the point, and this is going to be map 1, going the way of Staffordshire University. Jealous going to ult Mopin at the end, just assert his dominance. Pulse stunning Huge Horse, so he cannot get over into the point. And that is going to be Staffs taking the first map 2-1. It looked like a really good first round for Durham. They looked like they were really putting up a fight, but those other two maps, they were just brutal. They were absolutely brutal. And yeah, this ult comes in nice and low, gets 4 with it, and Rocket's just going to mop up the rest. Absolutely brutal. They had no answer to the Pharah. But Wolfman did a lot of healing.
I appreciate good Anna.
Yeah, I do love a good Anna. The Anna was instrumental, especially in that first map. So many great nades, both denying the healing and
I think people
amping up that
forget
healing in the grab.
how strong she can be when played correctly,
Yeah.
and Durham definitely.
Grenade
showed
is
that in
by
the
far
first map.
one of the strongest basic abilities in the game. It just does so much, especially if you can get it onto the say tanks. Like there were a couple of times Callum died just because he got anti-naded and there was nothing that could be done to heal him. So we now have Durham are going to be picking between Rialto and Gibraltar.
And Staff's picking.
And
side
Staffs
they
will pick
start
the
on.
side that they start on. Yeah.
Second of a best of 5.
You should probably tell
this
them because
afternoon.
they've asked
Yeah.
what maps are.
That's a good question.
Yeah, Rialto and Gibraltar. So Staffs looking to not be on Gibraltar here. We were talking to the players before. They don't like that map because you can't play goats on it. Simple as that. There's too much high ground. Last point, it's a bit more.
We just see a lot of goats. Do we really want to see it again?
Yeah. So I personally am hoping for the Gibraltar. Yeah. Rialto is goatsable, definitely, and they're going to go with the Rialto. So not counter-picking that Staff's hated map, and Staffs are going to opt to defend first, maybe hoping to get that quick, easy first defense, and then just push through. This is a best of 5, by the way, so even if Staffs win this, we'll have at least one more game. And both teams are now ready, so we will be
I feel
loading
like
in.
Payload is probably a bit more difficult to assert dominance just because how clean cut it can be. It's within meters if both teams.
Yeah, it can be, but
really
if you're
clear
winning
it.
fights in the way that Staffs were winning fights in those last two, it's very easy just to get a lot of push. So, Huge Horse straight away locking in that. Brigitte probably going to be sticking on that. He has been playing it a lot during NSE Annual this year. Also a lot of Reinhardt, but I think Marksmere has kind of taken over that main tank role. And they're going to be going actually on the defense with the Pharmacy again. So this is a really good Pharah map, especially with that first point that has the bridge that you can just rain down so many rockets on, and you have the house and you can drop down onto the bridge on the left, and there's so much cover and corners for you to play around. It can get really hard for an enemy team to deal with you, especially as Durham look like they're going to be going with the same team comp, which did very, very much struggle. Very much struggle to deal with this Pharah in the first case. And this house on the left here, there's so many corners for the Pharah to play around.
Again, surprised that Staffs haven't picked Lucio just because the boops available.
They have,
Nobody in Overwatch can swim apparently.
but they
so
have the jealous boops.
the jealous boops are present with the pocket mercy again. Oh, how gross to do.
And I predict we're probably going to see jealous, at least for a couple of fights here, just be dominant again, as we saw in that last game. We actually do have the full goats coming out with the Ana now from Durham. With that, and actually the Ana swapping to a Moira, so going even harder into that goats archetype. The Estiva can be good for dealing with the Pharah, and get up in her face, but it can get hard to defend your, like, you have to be peeling for your supports, but so you don't want to be necessarily just flying up into the Pharah's face. But they are taking the aggression to Staffs. Callum dropping pretty low, but the nade is going to hit him and onto Hushaw's. Hushaw's not going to receive any healing for a bit. Rockets coming down on him, getting him pretty low. Callum actually being forced back away from his team, dropping low, having to charge back out, and he gets nano boosted, so he's going to get back to full health. That's such a quick nano boost. It's going to be huge. Callum now going to be able to be aggressive, and the nade on Tazaria might actually get her down. And Jealous has his ult, and that's going to kill Wolfman and Saint Fox, and that's going to be this fight done. That nano boost onto the Rhine, absolutely instrumental to keep him alive and keep that fight going with him being that front line and bringing the aggression, giving Jealous the space to build up the last little bit of his ult and bring it down. He's already back on to 27%. It was looking pretty good for Durham, but that nano boost coming out really, really quickly from Zephyrus was huge. Sticking with the Ghost, changing it back to the Ana again, maybe looking to deny some of that healing that kept Callum alive. Slow, effectively pushing straight forward onto Zephyrus. Just try and take the Ana. The Rhine is going to get stepped, but Ana's going to go down, and the grab comes out onto Durham. Jealous just raining damage into that is going to take out 2. Pulse going to walk in swinging. WM1 is going to take out 2 more, and the res onto Zephyrus is going to be a quick win as Mopin jumps off the map. Yet another environmental kill that a player is going to claim when they didn't earn it.
Get them when you can, my dude.
Jealous back to 86% on his ult, looking for a boop off the map. Not going to find it, but he does have his ult back up. Callum with his Shatter. This could be a pretty disgusting combo. The nade is actually out now, so they know that they can't deny any healing. So a little bit of more aggression can come out. So definitely have healing, and the ult is going to come out from Jealous. Not actually going to get anyone. The really, really big defense matrix is going to save a lot of people from that. But Future does drop to a nade from Zephyrus, so they don't have that front line of the Regita, and the nade comes into the grab, and it's just no damage. And now a Shatter hits onto 3. Jealous pumping damage into that. Callum hitting a huge Shatter. He is purple, so they might be able to get this pick, but purple runs out just as Zephyrus' nade hits. And they're going to lose nobody, and they're going to get 5.
Working absolute overtime on healing and disrupting there.
Yeah, Zephyrus is timing his nades really well, so they don't get overridden by the nades from Wolfman 115. So making it really hard for them to deny the healing. Now a grab almost back up for Eevee. He does have it now. Probably going to push forward looking for this. And Jealous is going to take out Wolfman, so there's no way of getting extra healing into this grab. And the boost also comes onto Callum, and that is brutal.
Absolutely brutal.
Just one charge and a couple of swings to that from a boosted Reinhardt.
And
And
that is present.
they stood no chance in that. The big Ana pick at the start was absolutely huge for that, making sure no nade could come in, no boosted healing. And Jealous is going to pick off Monkfish straight out of spawn with only 15 seconds left. That means they're not going to have a real fight. And now he's getting kills with his ult as well. Like, he's just camping them at spawn. A Shatter does come onto Eevee, but the return Shatter comes from Callum. Marksmere going to drop to that, and they're not going to be able to touch this cart anymore. They actually do get the Lucio on. He did respawn just in time, but it's just the 2 supports. With Jealous raining in from behind them, they're going to drop. Mopin does what to do with his, just try and get back and extend the overtime. He does manage to touch, just not quickly enough, and is quickly dispatched by Pulse and Jealous. And it's going to be a very, very strong hold from Staffs. They do not have to push far at all.
Not even getting to the first checkpoint there on Rialto. Goodness.
And this first point at least is very good for Goats, and Staffs are showing themselves to be the better Goats team. So I expect we'll probably see a pretty quick take here.
I suppose you could say the Goats is pretty Bizarre.
All right.
That's
Have a look there. Actually, St. Fox currently sitting on an Ashe. Maybe they're looking to go a little bit different route, maybe a 2-2-2 with static tanks in the huge horse. Going off of his Brigitte and going on to the Ryan with Marksmere picking up the Zarya. St. Fox and Mopin then going to be bringing in the DPS for this 2-2-2 comp with a Zen and a Mercy. Actually, it looks like Staffs are also maybe not going to go straight out for the Goats, with a Mercy currently picked up. Looking like they might go for the Pharmacy as well. Yep, they are. Jealous has been so dominant on that hero. It is not surprising to me that they're deciding just to take it again. Now, he's getting very fast ults. He's getting picks with pretty much every ult. There was one where Mopin very expertly denied all of the damage onto Monkfish with his defense matrix, but other than that, Jealous has been dominant. Absolutely dominant. I'm saying 10 seconds here, and it does look like they're definitely sticking with this 2-2-2. I'm excited to see what St. Fox can do with the Ashe. I did actually see him warming up on her when I was in the player room earlier. So it looks like they were considering putting him on this hero before the game started. Is just taking it to try and shut down this Pharah, obviously, with the hit scan. She is very strong against her, but getting a few good hits in. And he does actually manage to get the headshot after a body shot, so Jealous is going to drop, but that's going to get rezzed straight up, I imagine. Yep, here he comes. Jealous almost taking down Monkfish there as well. Monkfish dropping low again to that fire strike. Shield is down for Callum, and Jealous is actually going to be able to take out St. Fox this time, so he's going to be pretty much uncontested now, unless Mopin can get a nice Hanzo shot onto him. Huge horse backed into a corner and so weak, and Eevee is going to be able to take him down. The res came out on to St. Fox, so there's no res for the huge horse, and he wasn't really in the resable position anyway, so they are their main tank down now, and Callum has a lot of free reign. But a huge headshot takes out Jealous. That's a lovely shot, but he had just taken out Mopin, so a lot of damage is going to be lacking for Durham, and Callum has just got entirely free reign to swing, and they're not going to be able to touch point, and Staffs are going to take that very, very quickly.
Staff's taking the second of 5 maps.
So it's going to be
this afternoon.
2-0 to Staffs. This is a best of 5, so one more, and they are going to have that. They're going to be the NSE Winter Champions. This was a huge grab, and the Ana pick beforehand, and then just so much damage came into it from Callum. That was insane. And yeah, Marksmere in the chat there is correct. We are going to be going to 2CP next with either Horizon or Temple of Anubis. And it is once again going to be Durham's pick, as they did lose. And Staffs are going to be picking the side. And it looks like they're going to be picking Horizon Lunar Colony. Honestly, it's the lesser of two evils. It is 2CP. So
I mean, it's still all to play for. If Durham really show how good they're here for a reason.
Yeah.
They're second. It's a grand final for a
yeah,
reason.
I mean,
still
they are
could
a
take it
strong
all.
team. So we're looking at Horizon or Anubis here. The issue for Durham is, if they win this, then Staffs get to pick the next map, which is Hybrid, and they do get to pick King's Row.
Oh no, of course they're going to pick
And
Kings Row.
when if Staffs picks King's Row, and they can goats in it, they are probably going to take that. So winning this match is necessary, obviously, for Durham. But even after this, they do have a very uphill battle. If they do manage to take Hybrid as well, then they will be playing on the pole, because the last map is just the control map that wasn't played in Game 1. So they will be playing on the pole, which is less of a goats map. And I think they'll stand a better chance. But Staff's showing that they aren't just goats one-tricks. They do also have the pharmacy that they can take out, should they please.
We did warn on the goats, and it's happening, and oh boy.
Yeah, and that pharmacy, I think their pharmacy has been more dominant than their goats. Just
You
because
reckon? No.
Jealous on that hero is a force to be reckoned with. So we do have goats coming out from Staffs for this map. On attacking first, and we're going to be looking at a Genji coming out from Mopin. Actually, no, going to be swapping over to that Zarya, so it looks like they're going to be going to tank a McCree coming out for St. Fox. Did show off some pretty good hit scan prowess in the last game with his Ashe, shutting down Jealous a couple of times. With the McCree, would be strong if they went for pharmacy. It can be hard to deal necessarily with goats as McCree. You can just get run at a bit, but it does give you another stun to go over that Vine Shield. if you can get it over the top. Or it gives you a bit more chain stun if you can get huge horse to stun first, and then you flashbang, and you can get the nade in, and then... So it does give you a bit more CC options in Overwatch at the moment. Very much, there's a lot of CC involved in the game, so it's useful. But a lot of spam already coming onto Marksmere, dropping down pretty low. Staff's just going to walk straight under them and onto point. And now Durham have to be taking the point to them, the fight to them, and that's really what you don't want to be doing. But St. Fox on the high ground is going to be able to take out Xaphus with no Moira. That's a lot of healing that's going to come out. Callum's also going to go down. It's just 2 for 2 right now, but the mech is going to drop for Eevee, and J7 is looking like he's in a pretty bad spot. Eevee just trying to get his mech back, and they're going to stagger. Bully the Diva, now the name of the game. And then drop to a nade. She was getting not that close to ult, but just want to hold her off there. Huge Horse did drop. Is going to be coming back from spawn. But that was a nice fight. St. Fox just sitting on the high ground, managing to take out that really, really big source of healing, and Xaphus on the Moira was really big. It's looking jealous. Did manage to build an ult, as did Mopin. So there are 2 grabs going into this. St. Fox also with his. Is going to be able to deny some space, maybe pick up a kill. Marksmere going to go for the shatter and not actually catch anything. Both grabs come out, and there's no damage into either of them. But St. Fox with the ult does manage to pick up 2 into that grab. And now the boost onto Marksmere might be a waste of an ult, but it is going to mop up the rest of this fight as Xaphus also wastes his. That is a support ult from both teams, used when they maybe didn't have to. Huge Horse dropping very low, actually going to get taken out by a Moira orb. This is always a really fun way to die. It feels very rewarding. Like the other player definitely earned the kill by pressing E, right click, and hoping for the best.
Seeing again just what they showed in the first game of the map dominance. They're not getting on this point.
Callum now with an ult, so going to be looking for Pulse to stun up Marksmere. A huge anti-nade onto them. Callum is going to actually not get anyone of that ult. The Diva with a Zarya bubble on her is going to block all of it. The St. Fox managed to take down Eevee, and Callum's dropping so low, and he's going to fall. Now there's a shatter up ready for Marksmere. Isn't going to need it in this fight, but it's ready for the next one. Neither Ryan has actually managed to find anything with an ult yet. Charge onto Xaphus. Going to pick him off, and a huge, huge fight. That Zarya bubble onto the Diva, charging into the Ryan's face, blocking his entire shatter, was huge because all of Durham were anti-naded. And if that shatter hit, that was point. Now, Mopin ready with his ult. Jealous only on 50%. And Marksmere ready with another one of his as well. St. Fox at 88. We saw what he did with it last time, getting that double kill. So this is looking like a good position for Durham. Staff's coming up on a different side this time, not looking to just go straight into the point. A shatter does come out, but it doesn't get anyone again. The break it down does come out, so there's a lot of health ready on the side of Staffs. The Pulse is going to go down to the Deadeye. The grab comes out, but doesn't find anything. Eevee sending out her ult does actually go into the low ground, so also isn't going to find anything. And so far, it's just a 1-for-1, but St. Fox dropping very low, and a shatter onto him is going to cause him to die pretty quickly. Mopin doing his best to try and stay alive on the point here. Going to take down the Eevee mech, but Staffs have too many players. Wolfman just going to throw himself on the point, try and stall a little bit, but it's going to be point. Boop into the wall, and a couple of shots from a J7. Going to be the end of Wolfman 115 as St. Fox spots back over onto the Ash.
Objective A being captured with 4 minutes and change to get the second point. Durham put up as good as a defense as they did.
It was a good hold, but now with the grab and the rally ready, there is a definite possibility for Staffs just to walk onto this point, grab, get a lot of kills, and take the win. The grab does come out, but there's not that much damage into it. Nice shields. And the shatter onto Huge Horse. Huge Horse is just going to drop very quickly there. The charge forward from Callum is actually going to drop Marksmere pretty low, but Callum also getting low. A grab comes out from the other side, but the healing into it from the Coalescence not going to be enough. Not going to be enough damage to get through that healing. St. Fox doing his best on this Ash to just try and stall out for a little bit. But that is going to be a really quick snowball with that grab and the shatter.
Jinxed it. Goodness. Staff's taking that second point so quickly there.
It was a really good first hold, but
3.5 minutes with a little bit of change extra. Ooh.
That's not a terrible time for Staffs for that next round. Especially if they can get as good a hold as on first. It's going to be a big thing depending on what... I don't think they want to try and ghost into them, and they look like they're not Mopin going to go back to that Doomfist. Pulse going to be taking his second signature hero on the Junkrat. It's the only determined hero from Staff's. Jealous going onto the Ash Pulse. Maybe not going with the Junkrat. They're actually going to be going back to the Brig. He doesn't get to have fun today. Callum picking up that Ryan again.
Seeing the Zenyatta pick there from Zephyrus.
And they're going to be going for a triple support. Once again, they are big fans of this Pulse. Very good on that Brig. And Jealous, I'm excited to see what Jealous can do. On his hit scan is excellent. His Widowmaker is disgusting. All of his DPS heroes are disgusting running. He's just an insanely good player. So his Ashe will hopefully be pretty exciting to watch. Going to be going with the same comp they've been running a lot on Durham. Taking that triple support, 2 tank, and a Doomfist. Mopin has been doing a lot on the Doomfist, getting a lot of early picks, especially onto the supports. So he might be instrumental in trying to get quick takes onto this point. Doomfist as well, fast, can get onto second point if you take first, get a pick, and help with that snowball. So it's going to be pretty big for what he can do, especially as well as he's their best hero right now for contesting or denying high ground with their uppercut getting up there. And his just a Doomfist ability to escape from any situation, pretty much unscathed. Going to be looking to do the same thing Staffs did first round, just going straight under them and on to point. Actually, no, they're going to be coming up the stairs, trying to face them on the high ground. They're going to be the charge coming out. Callum's actually going to drop despite getting Zarya Bubble to manage to cancel that charge. And the Fire Strike's going to come through and take out Zephyrus. There's no chance for a res here as Mercy's also going to drop. And I think this is going to be a really, really, really quick first take from Durham. That was huge. Just managing to get the nade onto Marksmere as he got stunned by the counter charge from Callum. When Callum went down, Marksmere didn't. And having that main tank advantage was meant you could push forward super aggressively and take that fight. The Fire Strike coming out immediately after he got up, taking that Zephyrus. And J7 was kind of just on his own in that in the upper room.
Objective B with 7
They do have 7 minutes, but they don't have the same snowball capability right now that Stas came into with the grab and the rally last time. So they do just have to try and have to kind of actually fight this out. Although Marksmere is up to a shatter, so if you can get a big shatter here, they could get an insanely good time. However, this is 2 CP, so we never know what's going to happen. Jealous, just trying to get Bob ready. Is going to do a lot if you can. But a big shatter and a huge anti-nade is going to take 2. Marksmere actually going to ult the Monkfish. The Boostio coming out. A big sleep is going to take out J7, and that might just be all she wrote for this point. With 6 minutes left on the clock, that was an insanely strong push.
So
that shatter onto 3, the anti-nade hitting all of them, and then sleeping onto J7. And they came up really big in that fight, as did Marksmere.
Just as we were saying, all to play for. Durham have really
Durham
proven
have
that.
showed up right now. Bob did
They're
get killed right at the
here.
end, though.
Oh boy.
Do always like to see a Bob in the kill field. So now Staffs, their first push the last time wasn't great. So 3 minutes 30, they might be getting a bit concerned if they can, if they're going to get held in the same way that they did last time. Because if they do, 6 minutes 25 to take first is probably going to be Durham taking this map. So Staffs absolutely have to take first here. And they're actually going to be going for Bastion. They're going to be, he stopped outside spawn.
Is this a meme
He
thing?
stopped outside spawn. I hope they do. Then, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, Wolfman doesn't play
No
the
memes
DPS.
today, unfortunately.
I'm going to be going back to his Anna. I don't think he's... Although he did play one life of Moira. So he does play other heroes. We're going to go with the same that they did on the attack. No McCree this time. Well, that was very dominant for their defense the last time. But the Doomfist can do a similar job of disrupting and getting those picks. And is a lot more survivable. Doomfist just doesn't die. And classic Goat's going to be coming out from Staffs with the full Moira setup. So going to be going all in on the Goats. And Durham are holding really close. Looking to get an early fight, an early pick with a Rhine charge maybe. They're going to come around the corner. They are going to spot them out. They're just going to push straight onto them really aggressively. Swinging out and Mopin going to jump straight in, get loads of damage onto J7 and knock him out. Callum now isolated on his own in the room. Huge Force is going to drop and Callum's actually going to be able to take up Marksmere, so this hasn't gone as well for Durham as I think they would have liked. Callum needs to die here if they want to win this fight. He's going to charge forward. He's actually going to catch Mopin with the charge. And this strat has not paid off for Durham at all. They did get the first 2 picks in that fight, but Callum managed to survive off on his own in that room, even after Pulse had died. There's no support was huge. And they're going to take first, very quickly.
With 3 minutes on the clock.
Although Durham are coming back, maybe looking like they want to recontest, but no, Ryan's just coming back to ferry his support
Already
in on
pushing
home.
forward as they haven't even
Just
claimed
leaving 2 on the point.
A.
Not giving Durham time to set up a defense here. But Moxmir ready with the ult. As is Zephyrus, so he can pump some healing into a Shatter. Shatter's going to come out. It's going to hit on so many, and that's going to be this fight done. So it's going to be a full reset from Staff. A huge, huge fight. Catching Zephyrus as well, so no chance for the healing from that Coalescence to come through and save anyone from that Shatter. Really nice, quick initiative from Moxmir. But Staff's now with 3 ult advantage.
Really wasting as much time as they can for those 2.5 minutes now for Staffs.
They do have both tank ults. Going to be really nice, and the grab going to come out really quickly here as soon as they get up the high ground. Coalescence into it, but the healing nade and the Shatter is going to keep Moxmir alive. The EV bomb does come out, and not going to be enough. The shield does manage to come out just in time for Moxmir, and a charge and a punch from both Moxmir and Mopin is going to be enough to mop up Callum. Gets another punch onto Jealous, just destroying these tanks with the Doomfist. Pulse now alone in the corner, and they used so many ults there, and they didn't get it.
Ult advantage is not working out for them as they're
Jealous,
them off on high ground.
Jealous does still have his ult. They just used the Ryan and the Zarya ult there, so they do still have the grab. And Saint Fox already back up to 40% from that fight. That's really good. And Marksmir at his. Mopin already back to his almost again, and he used them there. He did so much damage to those tanks, and they're going to try a different tactic, go around the right side low ground. Dharma is going to drop immediately to beat them. Both Ryans looking for a Shatter here. Sleep onto Eevee. Shatter comes out from Marksmir, and the grab response from Jealous, but Monkfish with the beat is going to keep his entire team alive. And now there's going to be fighting in with no ults really on either side. And another the counter beat is going to come out, but it's just not enough health. Mopin's doing a lot of damage. He does die before he can use his ult, but they're pushing really aggressively. Jealous is going to get stunned up, go down, and that's another fight won by Durham. And they used 2 ults again there on Staff. They used the Shatter and they used the grab. And now Saint Fox back to his grab. Jealous back up to 53%. Again, is really good to get that out of the fight. Used it. Marksamir though, back up to his when Callum's only on 8%. That is so much more damage that Marksamir did in that fight than Callum. And with both of the, this is what looking likely to be the last full fight Stats get. And they're going to be going into 2 tank ults. And they Doomfist ult. The rally does come out, so that's going to be a lot of armor, helping them tank through some of this. Jealous at 60%. Maybe they just want to try and stall on point till he can get that, but it is going to be tough. Marksamir looking for an ult. Is going to get it onto Callum. Callum and Eevee, and the nade comes onto them. Actually went onto the high ground, onto Jealous as well, so he was going to get stunned up. And this is going to be no tick for Staffs on this second point. And 6 minutes. And Saint Fox didn't even have to use his ult there, so he can even push forward. Anyone that spawns tries to get back in time. Maybe J7 being quick. He's just going to be able to ult. Jealous actually managed to get back onto point with a little bit of Brig armor. Going to keep him alive a little bit. Gets pushed back into the health kit. Will survive for a little longer. Is going to grab them. Keep him off point. The grab is going to come out onto just Callum in response. And Staffs are just trickling onto this point now. They're not going to be able to get the damage out from all of his healing. And they're not going to get a tick here. So Durham, 6.5 minutes to get 1 tick on second. Obviously you have to take first, but then just need that 1 tick to bring the series to 2-1. And that second defense there was so strong from them. They were winning fights where they got ulted several times. They were saving their ults for really good moments. Marksmir was hitting Shatter after Shatter after Shatter. It was just a really commanding defense.
Well, nearly 6.5 minutes now for Durham. Can they do it? I really
This is
hope
a lot
so.
of time. They only need 1 tick on second as well. The issue with 2CP so often is that
You just lose your
getting
footing
that
a
whole
little bit.
point is so hard, but just getting a couple of the kills can be enough to snowball you into that 1 tick, which is all they need. So this is a very commanding position in this map for Durham.
We see another quick take on point A, and again, one single tick on B, and that brings the
I think
3rd round.
Staff's going to be wary to not let that same thing happen again. Maybe don't want to let Durham bring the aggression to them on that high ground. On the position that they do have now.
The AoE damage come out on Callum.
Jealous and
swapping.
Pulse playing the Tracer and the Doomfist respectively, with a Anna as well for Zephyrus. So this is a more aggressive team. They're looking to dive them.
An aggressive ghost.
It's not it's just full dive right now with Callum on the monkey as well. So they're just looking to dive and disrupt this aggressive, just run at your face game plan that Durham are going to be bringing at them. That got Durham such that commanding win first. Durham going to do the same thing, just go straight under and go onto that high ground. Jealous just in the back, trying to get damage onto them, build up that pulse bomb. It is so instrumental for getting a pick onto a support. The aggression coming out now on the high ground. Callum going to jump forward and the nade onto Monkfish, but the Zarya bubble is going to get rid of that anti-heal. And they're on the point now, and they've already taken a tick, and they have a pretty commanding position here. The pulse is going to actually be able to punch the charge out of Reinhardt, but Mopin is going to offer to the side, take out Eevee out of her mech, and then punch her into the wall. Jealous and Pulse, this DPS combo, getting a couple of picks, and it actually might be enough. Saint Fox going to take out Pulse, but it might be enough to give them, yeah, they're going to manage to hold. They did give up one tick, but I think they're going to be okay with that. It's sometimes alright to give up a tick with dive to make sure that you don't dive too early, not coordinated, feed a couple of kills, and then just lose. Giving up a tick, and Callum's going to ult, probably a fat finger there, but that's going to be really bad.
We've all done it. It's fine.
We've all done it. So that is really unfortunate. Zephyrus does have his ult though, and a nano boosted monkey, even without his ult, can be pretty nasty. Jealous already used one pulse bomb, back up to 50% towards his next. This is going to be pretty good if he can get it on to a support, and they are going to boost the monkey coming in. Oh, not the monkey. I actually don't see who they. I think it was the Doomfist. He's going to be able to take out Huge Horse, but on the other side, Mopin is also going to be able to get a pick, and the grab comes out. Callum's so low, he's just going to drop, and the bubble is going to be enough to stop that Doomfist ult damage, but this is going to be point for Durham.
The disruption there from Jealous on Tracer just not enough to take over. Going into point B with 4 minutes.
4 minutes to
change.
gain one tick. They do have Mopin ult and they have Huge Horse ult, so they're going to have a lot of health going into this fight with that rally armor. And if Mopin can just get a pick on, say, the Ana, that's huge. Ana has a really, really hard time surviving against Doomfist ults. It's kind of reliant in this kind of case on a monkey getting back to her and giving her a shield to survive. And they're just going to jump straight in on the Ana, and I don't know if she's going to be able to survive this. She's not. The punch and the fire strike is going to be enough to just take her out. The rally's out, so there's a lot of health. Pulse jumping in, but dropping pretty low. Does have a lot of shield, though, to keep him alive. They're pushing in. Eevee is going to use her ult. Not going to be able to actually go in to find Huge Horse. The shield is enough to keep the rest of them alive. Getting a little bit of progress towards this tick. And Eevee is going to move some bet while Callum dies. Eevee's so low, and it's going to drop this Jealous Bastion, getting a lot of damage, but just into the shield, and they can't touch point. And Durham are going to take a map.
Third map to Durham. We might just get a best of 5 series. I really hope
We
so.
might get. We definitely. It's not a sweep. We like to see no sweeps, obviously. But we are going to be going on to Staff's pick. We are going to be going on to Staff's pick, which is almost certainly going to be King's Row.
Oh no,
Almost certain.
no, almost
They have the
certainly.
options of King's Row, Eichenwald, and Hollywood. I don't see why they would pick anything but King's Row.
Personally, I like Hollywood, but
I
know-
like Hollywood
know
as
it's
well,
an awful
but
map.
I'm not Goat's one trick, so.
Oof. Some shade.
Now, Staffs have me showing other comps than Goats. I'm happy about that. It's been a bit more interesting than just watching Goats v Goats. I think as well, though, Durham respect Goats well enough from Staffs to know that they probably don't want to be playing Goats into them.
Oh gosh, what?
Eichenwald.
Uh,
So yeah, King's Row, Eichenwald, the German one, or Hollywood as the options here for Staffs. I am definitely predicting that we're going to see a King's Row.
I'm here to observe and cast, not to spell.
Not to spell Eichenwald. It's hard. I have spelt it in Halo, so you could have just copied it, but that's fine.
Oh. What's something that you'd like to
mulling
see
it over.
picked, if like a slight meme choice was made by either side?
I love Eichenwald. I want to see an Eichenwald. Eichenwald is such a varied map. You have first point, which is just you kind of run at them. You just go under the bridge and run at them. And then second point though, there's all that high ground, so it's a bit different. You can play a lot of different comps. Dive is good. You can play the pharmacy, but there is going to be King's Row, because of course it's going to be King's Row, the Dust 2 with Overwatch.
If I could pick any hero to be picked right now, I want to see Hammond. I want to see a good Hammond play.
Um,
I know it's not going to happen, but
Yeah. Neither of these teams play Hammond. There are some teams in NSE and Newell that have played Hammond, but neither of these are them. Funnily enough, because they didn't get as far because they played Hammond.
hold on. I think teams that did play Hammond, sorry, brought out some Hammond action at some point during
Yeah,
NSE.
we did actually. We lost to a Hammond at one point.
What, Keo number 1?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it was quite sad. It was on the pool. But
Just
so yeah, Kings Row is going to be really, really tough for Durham. The
having
staffs
a
are so commanding on that goat.
1 minute break for our players as hands are sweaty, knees weak, arms maybe pasta.
Probably. But they are going to have to. I think they actually have done a better job than I thought we were going to see at countering this ghost, especially kind of on that first map of Lijiang. So they're going to put up a fight definitely, but I think that this is staffs are definitely favoured here.
The amount of choke points just available on Kings Row, you've got immediately after the point is taken under the bridge, and then you've got halfway down between the two buildings, and then obviously the tick. The amount of hold that's just possible there. We don't see Azaya. Very surprised.
It's just that and the lack of high ground.
Yeah, both teams using high ground really effectively.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because casual Overwatch babby over here, but the high ground usage, especially on Horizon, was just amazing from both teams.
I think there's probably a pretty good chance as well that the staff's goat is likely, but Pharmacy also very strong on Kings Row, especially on that first point.
Also, Pharmacy being a personal favourite, I'm always here for it.
Yeah, and Jealous has been showing off pretty hard on that Pharah.
The
And
boops.
So,
Boops and the ult, yeah. Seen on
especially
Lijiang
just
third
the amount of
point.
damage he manages to get in, the amount of ults he manages to get. He's so dominant on that hero, and even Saint Fox has been doing a good job on the hit scans. His Ashe and
Yeah,
McCree
considering
both.
Ashe is still
His Ashe and
relatively
McCree
new,
both showed
yeah.
off to be pretty good.
What are your thoughts on Ashe?
Ashe, I
feeling?
think, is the best hero they've added to the game since Ana.
Oof. Doomfist and Orisa fans
Are terribly
quaking.
designed heroes.
Going into the 4th game of this best of 5 now, Kings Row.
But
Oh, boy.
Ashe actually, requires mechanics, and I like that. The last few heroes haven't.
The Omni Toaster approval there. Orisa? Nah.
Arisa's just boring to play. Is my issue with Orisa. Like you press E and you hold left click.
I like the mini Zarya though, the mini boop.
It is fun, yeah. You can get some environmentals. I enjoy playing Moira. I like Moira, but
Especially someone who cannot aim, just being able to click anywhere
but
is very
I think
helpful.
I mostly enjoy Moira because I enjoy winning, and Moira's a
okay.
good hero.
Can't relate.
But Ana is the best hero they've ever added to the game, and yeah, they've never done anything but that tops her. She's a brilliantly designed hero, and Wolfman 115 also backing me up here, playing a lot of Ana. Ana's my favorite. I think I have
Zenyatta.
along the
support
lines of
main.
70 hours on my second most played, and Ana's about 150. So I like Ana.
I think I'm on 100 and something on Mercy, and then it's split divide between Diva and Zenyatta.
There's gonna be goats coming out from staffs. Back to the actual game.
Oh, back to
But
the
with
actual game.
Zephyrus on the Zenyatta instead of the Moira. They have been favouring this kind of variation of goats a little bit more. With the Saint Fox going back for his McCree, maybe expecting the Pharmacy, or maybe just knowing that he can get a lot of damage out with it. And Jealous already up to 79 charge on that Zarya, going to be doing so much damage. Marks may have to back up as his shield absolutely melting. Jealous pushing forward very aggressively, already at 100 charge, building up towards that grab pretty quickly as soon as he starts getting damage in. And just going to melt the Reinhardt shield with that 100 charge damage, and there's not really any chance for Durham once that happens. Jealous coming up so huge in that fight, getting a team kill, and that is an
Absolutely dominating
incredibly
there.
fast first take on Kings Row.
Leaving one on the point, they're so confident pushing them all the way back
Well,
to their spawn.
and they know that they're going to be getting forward spawn, so they can push them to there and start being aggressive already. Just show them they're not scared. Mopin jumping in very aggressively, but here's Doomfist, so he is going to get out because of course he is.
Leaving no one on the point currently to push it, but that's fine.
This is the thing, at this point when the defenders are starting to push up on you a little bit, if you can then punish that aggression and you win a fight like this, getting a huge grab, blocking the shatter, but not actually getting anything out of the grab. Everyone had just backed off a little bit too much. I think that might have been a case of a little bit of miscommunication. The grab came out, but the rest of staffs were a little bit too far behind to come and do anything with it. Callum did, it looked like, block the shatter. They put a question mark in chat, so maybe he got shattered.
A little bit of BM in the fourth and best of 5.
Yeah, if you can properly punish that kind of aggression, then you get a lot of free push on the cart, so it doesn't matter that much that you weren't pushing it before. But they did go for the punish, and they didn't actually manage to pull it off. The shatter is just going to hit onto Wolfman, so it's not quite enough, and the beat is going to get a lot of health coming out, and an anti onto Pulse and Callum, so they're going to be dropping pretty low. Pulse is going to get chased down by Mark Smith. No chance to heal there. With the anti-nade used, they know they're safe to pop this Transcendence, but the anti goes back out just at the end of it onto Callum. He's dropping really low. He actually gets booped back by Mopin into the rest of the team, so he's going to drop down. Boopin boosted now. Mark Smith dropping pretty low, but there's not enough heroes around to capitalize on his low HP, get the pick. And it's going to be another one fight. It does look like Durham are starting to stabilize a little bit after their not great hold on the first point.
Wolfman 115 straight on it with the healing there. I wish I could have Anders this good in my games.
No, he has been coming up pretty big on pretty much every game here. His nades have been huge. A stun out onto Callum. The Shatter's going to come out from Marsmith, but not hit onto anyone. But Mopin pushing forward really aggressively. Gonna get the pick onto Pulse. Follow it up with a kill onto Eevee after Saint Fox takes out her mech. And they're just going to carry on going forward aggressively. The stun to counter that charge comes out onto Callum. He's going to drop. And they're just going to be pushing them back into spawn now. Reminiscent of US pushing the UK back into spawn. But we all saw how that game ended up. So
giving staffs a real taste of their own medicine there.
Yeah.
Getting maybe Pocky, maybe who knows.
A lot of stabilization coming out from Durham, but ult advantage definitely going in the way of Staffs, but the ult coming out from the Zarya with the charge, taking out Callum instantly. It's probably going to make, they don't want to take this fight, and Zephyr's actually popped his. So they don't have that Transcendence anymore, but it didn't really actually achieve much. It just let them retreat back into spawn.
Just under 2 minutes left now on the defense as well.
But that was every ult in the playbook there for Durham. Now getting up Monkfish's drop the beat, and Mark Mir is going to have his shadow pretty quickly. So they're going to have 2 more, and this beat is going to be instrumental in the next fight because they have the grab, they have the shatter, and they have a beat of their own. You want to try and be able to match the things they're doing. Going to come through with a big combo. Isn't going to be able to get the charge onto Marksmere. The grab actually brought him too high into the air, so he's going to be able to shield the... Oh, and he's going to get a huge return shadow onto 3. Callum tried, but while he's exposed with his shield, Marksmere going to send it back onto him. Dropping pretty low, but the nade is going to come out onto Staffs, and they're dropping even lower. Marksmere getting healed up. Confident to just take the aggression forward even more. And they're pushing them back to spawn again. The punch coming out from Mopin onto J7, just mopping up that kill. And Staffs used everything.
Seeing
and they didn't
just
get anywhere.
how, well, Durham using everything they had to get them back to their spawn, and Staff just trying to counter it, not working. The defense is too high.
And now 3 ults up for Durham. They do have Zephyrus with that Transcendence to try and counter a grab. If Wolfman, doesn't get an excellent nade, he's been really on point with that. A huge shatter under the cart onto so many, but Jealous is going to pop his ult as well. The Transcendence is going to come in from Zephyrus, and the charge onto Marsman is going to drop him, but Mopin manages to get the mech away from Eevee, and the Meteor Strike going to come down to a grab. It's going to take out J7, cutting off a little bit of the support. Callum is going to push forward into the room where Pulse, Huge Horse was isolated, and despite a couple of good picks from Durham, Staffs are going to finally start managing to get this cart rolling.
Choke point I mentioned.
And this time it was Staffs that survived through loads of ults. Pushing forward very aggressively, looking to take the fight a little bit before this point so they can get more push on it, get it closer. Getting this point quickly is going to be huge for them. If they get stalled here again, I mean, they only really have 1 more good fight here. 2 if they're really quick on the way back. Punch from Mopin is going to miss onto everybody. A lot of damage coming out into a huge shatter, and that's going to be 2nd point. Callum knocking down 3. A sleep does come out onto Eevee as Huge Horse just slapping away with his flail. It's not going to be enough damage though. That shatter from Callum coming up absolutely huge. Now, 1 minute 53 left. after a pretty dire start for second point, have recovered it kind of well. This point can be hard to push though.
I'd say at this point right here is the second worst choke point from the original under the bridge.
Last point on King's Row can be very hard to push. A big grab from Jealous, but huge from Monkfish, cancelling out a lot of damage on that with the beat. Everyone's still pretty healthy on the side. 2 shots dropping pretty low, but they are going to manage to get 2 picks, 3 picks now. Actually a headshot from Doomfist, taking out 1. And that's going to be a pretty dominant fight. Monkfish coming up huge there with his ult, managing to keep them alive through that grab and just turn it around onto Staffs. And that's not great for Staffs. They do have a Shatter coming up, as does Marksmith, coming up 89%. Callum with 93. And J7 is going to have his ult as well, try and cancel some of the damage coming in from that. St. Fox also getting pretty close though. Like, ult advantage is going to be coming pretty rapidly in the way of Durham. And a huge shadow from Marksmith onto so many EV knockdown as well. Gets back up, and the Lucio ult coming out to cancel a lot of that damage. Marksmith almost dropping low, but Wolfman coming up huge with his big heal from his ult, getting right up to full, giving that edge in the fight against Cannon, both knocking each other down. But ultimately, more damage and healing coming out to Marksmith.
And the counter ult from
And now
Callum
St.
there
Fox has his ult for one last fight.
not hitting at all, with only 2 ults banked for each team.
St. Fox's ult here is going to be so instrumental. They do have Zephyrs ready to counter. He's got from above, gets all of them in it. The Transcendence does come in, but a nade hits onto two tanks. They're just going to drop. None of that healing is going to come out to them. Wolfman coming up absolutely huge there. That was the biggest nade he's hit all game, and he's been hitting brilliant nades. Both tanks getting naded. No healing from that Transcendence onto them. Absolutely huge. And that's going to be a nice 3rd point hold coming out from Durham. Not terrible. Like, this is definitely doable for them. If they, especially if they can get a more commanding push through second than Staffs did. Like, that hold at the start, just under the tunnel into second, was so big for Durham. It wasted so much time from Staffs. So when they did actually get to their 3rd point, they only really had 2 fights.
Just, yeah, this choke here being awful. I'm really surprised that they did manage to push through, especially as they were just attacking their spawn.
Yeah, it was quite a brutal hold there. Yeah, so Durham just have to get it about halfway through 3rd point to bring us to a 5th map, sorry. A 2-2 scoreline going into a full series, as I think we all want to see, maybe other than Staffs. Going with a currently Mopin sitting on a Widow. Maybe it's going to be going up top looking for that initial pick before swapping back to probably a Doomfist.
Just scouting out
as
what
he has
they
been playing a
picked
lot.
here.
It's going to be the triple tank, triple support with the Zenyatta once again from Staffordshire is very, very strong at this point, very, very strong in this map. But Mopin not actually going to go. He's just going up top to maybe scout out, not going for that shot at the start. Going back to his Doomfist. And gates are open. So this first attack is going to be really, really important. Because Goats does definitely have the capability to just hold him. Going through with the hotel to come around a little bit behind. Callum repositioning himself to get his shield in between his team and Durham. Durham ready in position to bring an attack. And Callum dropping already to half. There's not enough healing onto him right now. He does get stunned out. Does manage to get his shield back up just before he goes down, but a stun again. He's dropped to 20 health about 3 times there. But now Durham have a very commanding hold of the point. I've managed to take a tick already, and I'm going to back off a little bit as the rest of Staffs managed to get healed up. Callum back up to full, but his shield only on 500. Now they're pushing back through onto him. And Mopin on the sidelines has managed to use a seismic punch, take out Zephyrs, a little bit of healing cancelled, and a little bit of damage cancelled for that team. But and now with the Shatter onto him, it's going to take out the Lucio, but they're doing a lot of damage here with the boosted Doomfist and a 100 charge Zarya. St. Fox though, not managing to stay alive, just not enough to sustain, but a big purple is actually going to be able to punch Callum down. Wolfman coming up pretty big there, just not going to be enough. As they do manage to take a tick, so it's a good start. Huge Horse ready with his ult, and they're keeping the aggression going. Callum not quite back from spawn yet, but they don't have their Ana either, so it looks like probably it's going to be another 6v6 fight, a full fight. Jealous ready with his ult. Saint Fox only at 80%, and they're just going to open up with it, bring a lot of damage into it. There is the nade, but it's not going to be enough. There's just so much damage. Pulse, Callum swinging in. It's going to be a very, very quick wipe there. As Durham is going to reset and try a full push once again. Only the 2 ticks now to take the point.
St. Fox nearly with
So they are in a
his ult
better
there
position.
as
but
well.
Saint
One
Fox
big
now.
Zarya ult could be it.
Yeah, Saint Fox now coming up to 95%. Just a couple of shots and he'll be ready with his. But Zephyr's at 90, so he has to do this before Zephyr's can get that little bit more ult. He's going to be pushing in pretty aggressively. The Shatter's going to come out, but the huge grab is going to counter it. But the Transcendence is there and ready, and there's so much damage. Callum being kept alive and just swinging into Marksmere. That ult coming up from Zephyr's at just the right time to keep his whole team alive. Wolfman not being able to get that nade in this time, and it's not the result that Durham wanted from that fight. They wanted to get that grab. They got a grab. It countered the Shatter really well. It was really nice. But Zephyr's just got enough healing and like a couple of extra shots out to get that ult and keep his entire team alive. It was huge from Zephyr's now. Mopin jumping in, stunning Callum up. Marksmere going to charge and take Pulse. The B is dropped by Stas, so Callum getting pretty healthy again, but he is isolated on his own in Hotel, and he's going to drop. That's 3 down on the side of Stas. Rally coming out from Huge Horse. Going to be keeping his team alive pretty well. The Nerfless is going to come out. Probably not going to be able to get anybody low. Just going to get her back into suit. But I think she's probably just going to get stalled out. Jealous coming back, but he's so weak. Evie stalling out on the point really well, but her mech is going to be dropped again. And now Saint Fox ready again with his grab as they take first point with 3 minutes remaining to push on for second. Saint Fox, the only ult on the side of Durham now. They did use quite a lot there. Jealous up to 70%. Pulse and Callum both ready for theirs. This ult is probably going to come out before Zephyrus gets his this time. He does need another 20%. If they can be quick with this, then they can get it.
Pushing as far as Stas did when it was on their side.
Leaving their Anna's designated cart pusher. Regget on the Stas side, gonna use her ult, and they're gonna use this to add some aggression to push forward. Stun coming out. Zephyr's gonna take out Marksmere as he's stunned up. No shield to protect him. And it's gonna push so aggressively with all of his armor and speed from Rally there. They're gonna push him all the way back to spawn. It's exactly what we saw Durham doing to Stas. They decided, you know what, no, we can do that too. How do you like it?
How do you like those apples? Oh boy.
And now they also have their own grab. They have the Zenyatta ult to counter Durham's grab. They have Callum's ult. They have a lot of ult advantage here going into the next fight that they should probably be able to hold for a good while here, because they don't need to necessarily use all their ults. Durham looking to go atop, above them, drop down, but Gialis is going to take out Mopin as he kind of tries to get back in through the window.
Using the limited high ground.
So that's just going to have to be a reset. They don't have their damage. Mopin can get back to this fight pretty quickly, so it's not the worst hero to lose. Now, Marksmere got the nade on him. It's going to go in, but the nade's going to get eaten by the Zarya, and Jealousies is actually going to connect. Evie coming up huge there, eating the grab. And Jealous managed to turn it back round with his own grab, catch them all in it, and the damage was there. They have so much damage into grabs even without ults. They have Ryan swinging, they have Brigitte swinging, you know, they have Jealous pretty much always at 100 charge. A lot of the hope now for Durham has to come from the Rhino, and Mopin getting a couple of picks with his.
Evie not catching anyone.
And the Shatter does manage to catch Zephyrus. He doesn't have his ult ready. It's not a huge pick, but they actually managed to take him off. But Callum is going to drop to the aggression coming in after that. The boost does come out from Wolfman, and they're pushing forward pretty well here, managing to get Evie's ult mech away. Jealous dropping pretty low, but is supercharged. So she's going to be doing a lot of damage here. Bubbling herself is going to drop at the end of that. And that's going to be a fight one, but they really don't have much time to push this round. They have to get aggressive. They have to try and take another fight before staffs are ready for it, so they can actually try and get this card progression, because they only have 30 seconds to get all the way to second.
They don't really have the time to all be pushed up like that either.
If they can win the fight, then they do, because then they can get free on cart, and staffs probably won't have the time to get back. Ult advantage is kind of in their way as well. They do have the support ult, and they still do have Mopins, And St. Fox is going to get his first. Shatter comes out from Callum, not catching on to many. Monkfish is going to have to use his beat to keep him alive. St. Fox ready with his grab. Marksmere getting very, very low. A lot of healing coming out. Zephyr's going to ult into the grab. The charge onto Callum's going to stop him charging out of that grab. But Mopin does go down to Pulse. And Marksmere getting very, very weak. And now the grab returned from Jealous is going to be the fight being mopped up. Staffs taking the map. And Staffs taking the NSE Winter Split Finals 3-1. A very commanding victory. The maps they won were really, really strong wins. This one, they did struggle on second, but they managed to turn that around and do exactly what Durham did to them.
The fight Durham
in
put up
exactly the same way.
was so well done by
Just huge. Zephyr's getting his ult, being able to use it in that, and then Jealous turning around with a huge grab onto 4. And there were so many little factors that went into this when, you know, EV eating that grab when they were trying to push out Spawn. It was, like, I think Jealous obviously coming up huge, getting a lot of big grabs. And Staffs just playing really, really good Overwatch. Their team coordination is so strong. You know, like, yes, they're playing GOATs, but they're really good at GOATs. Like, they have a lot of synergy between the Ryan, the Zarya, and the Brigitte, which you need because you have to, you know, be stunning for shatters. You have to be stunning for grabs. You have to be keeping that Ryan alive when he charges in a bit too far, especially when you don't have the Ana, you don't have that nade. It can be kind of hard to get that extra healing onto him, but with the Zen as well, it is easier than with the Moira, say.
Who would you say your MVP of the game was?
I'm gonna
your own personal.
Jealous, probably MVP.
Yeah.
He's just an insanely good player. My own personal MVP would be Wolfman115. He was huge on that Ana. He hit so many nades. He was keeping people alive so well. His ults keeping Reinhardt alive all the time. I think he was definitely on Durham, my MVP, and Jealous.
Oh, how
Staff's
wholesome.
MVP.
They're walking in and shaking their hands.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Players
nice.
being good sports.
That's what wholesome esports. That's what we're here for.
But Staff's taking their victory. They have been very dominant all season, undefeated through the Champions bracket and that knockout stages. So, congratulations to Staffordshire University
and
team.
Commiserations to Durham, Durham defenders.
Well,
Spring Split, you got this.
Spring Split, come back stronger.
Christmas refresh.
destroy them,
Let's
yeah.
go.
But for now, we will sign off. I have been OmniToaster, joined by Charlie Montreal. We will be back shortly for the Dota 2 final. But until then,
Casted by us again. Oh boy, I'm
but
so
until
sorry.
then, stick around. It'll be on this stream again as well.
Yeah,
Keel Esports.
Keel Esports and NSE _GG.
So congratulations, staffs. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.